I thought about hiding in a crate, but they all smell sort of funny.
Something busted, Captain?
Sam, my vacuum tubes require evacuating. No, not those. The ones in port. Yes, there. Thank you. And while you're at it, could you switch my binaries to that? Exactly. I haven't felt this clean and efficient since Captain Hawthorne installed my subalternate auxiliary backup processor.
Every SAM unit comes lean, mean, and ready to clean. Thank you, customer. All cleaning tasks have been completed. Scheduling next round of cleaning to commence in 4 minutes. All SAM units.
Hey, you got a minute? I can't believe I wanted to shake his hand. I need a shower. It makes you wonder if being a treacherous, two-timing coward is some sort of contagious disease, or if he was just born that way. At first, I liked what Graham was doing. The Iconoclasts were going to change Halcyon for the better. But then, we found out Graham was behind the slaughter of Amber Heights. How can anybody so morally bankrupt lead a movement to transform the colony? Yeah, maybe you're right. You'd never do something like that, would you? Slaughter a whole community of innocents? I'm sure Graham told himself the same thing. He wasn't the one who held the gun and pulled the trigger. All he did was turn a key. The thing is, that's all it takes. Sometimes the difference between right and wrong is turning a key, or looking the other way, or keeping your mouth shut when you ought to speak up. Let's get back to it. I need to put all this ugly business with Graham behind me. Hey boss, got a hypothetical for you? You got a friend, see? Somebody you knew when you were growing up. You were close. Then, one day, they up and vanished. 5 years go by, they send you a message out of the aether. What's going through your head? You got the wrong idea, boss. It ain't like that. Guy by the name of Clyde Harlow. He was an old friend of mine. Honestly, he was probably my first and longest friend. I just heard from him. Says he wants to talk to me. Says it's urgent. Clyde's waiting for us on Scylla. What he's doing on an asteroid, I can't begin to imagine. I appreciate this, boss. I know you're going out of your way for me.
Remember that you are not insured.
How you managed to get Zora and Sanjar in the same room?
Hey, you. Looking for something? Where do you think you're going? Yeah. The captain said we might be getting a new recruit. That you, then?
Sounds like Clyde's jumping to conclusions, but yeah, I'm Felix.
You're on a first-name basis with Captain Harlow, huh? All right, go on through. Got my sights on you.
Well, hey there, Hullhead. Clawed your way out of the groundbreaker at long last?
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, were you expecting me to say something? Maybe a long time no see, or a you've aged, old man? I thought you were dead. Or throwing yourself against the walls of some re-education center. It's been 5 years, Clyde. The best thing you can say is, hey there, Hullhead?
No, Felix. The best thing I can say to you is yet to come. Also, I'd like to have a word with your captain. So, you took Felix under your wing. Kept him busy. Good. Kid always needed a place to belong.
I don't know what you're trying to say, but he's earned his keep with us.
Hear that, Clyde? I've been making something out of myself.
So long as you haven't been making a fool of yourself. I'm sure Felix has no end of stories to tell of your exploits together. I look forward to catching up with the boy. I'm working on something. Something big. Something the likes of which Halcyon has never seen. And I want Felix to be a part of my initiative. I'm fulfilling a promise I made to the boy, that one day, he and I would change the colony together. That day has finally arrived.
Easy there, Clyde. No one said nothing about throwing in with you. In case you didn't notice, I'm pretty happy where I am.
I'm not asking you to walk away from your captain, Felix. But neither should you allow yourself to be controlled by fear. Change is not to be feared. I brought you here because I want to know where Felix's loyalties lie. When the day of our revolution comes, I want to know that I can rely on him. That you feel insulted is a testament to your affection for the boy. I'm not asking you to let him go. Not until he's ready. I understand that Felix is part of your crew, at least for now. If the thought of losing him troubles you, then understand that you're helping him solve a problem for an old friend. I want you to deal with a traitor for me. Name's Trask. Kill him, and bring me proof of his death. His ring should do nicely. Then Felix will have done me a favor, and I will be grateful. I imagine we'll catch up on lost time, have a long talk about his future. I don't contest your claim to Felix's services, but he is his own man, and we are all of us responsible for our own destinies. Ratted us out to the board. He's been an informant. Has been for years. When he realized I was onto him, he and his little cadre mutinied. Killed 5 of my own and tucked tail. I don't know where he's hiding, but his wife might. Rosanna. Lives on the groundbreaker last I checked. Rosanna knows my crew by name and face, but you're a stranger to her. She'll talk to you. Is that right? Well then, suppose that changes things. Trask betrays my crew and by pure happenstance crosses orbits with you. The universe has a strange sense of irony. I don't see the point in testing Felix any further. If he's willing, there's a place for him in my crew.
I don't know about this, boss. You've been real good to me. I'm not too keen on jumping ship. Yeah. Okay. I had a good time, you know. Saw the system, got in a couple scrapes. Which is why I'm staying. You were good to me, Clyde, once upon a day. But you disappeared on me, and I've moved on.
Are you sure about this, Felix? I'm not giving you a second chance. Turn me down now, and you're not getting back in my crew.
You can keep your crew. I've got a family.
Then I suppose there's nothing more left to be said. Goodbye, Captain. I doubt we'll cross orbits again.
I definitely won that round.
You always seem to, huh?
That's because I'm usually right.
Next time, I work the scorecard. Join me for a second, will you?
Ship's starting to feel like home. We need to talk. Listen, boss. I owe you an apology. I got stupid. Clyde wanted me on his crew, and I jumped at the shot. You took a chance with me back on the Groundbreaker. I should have shown you a little more loyalty. Nah, Clyde wasn't important. Knowing you can count on me, that's important. There was something else on my mind, honestly. I've been trying to make sense of all this business with Clyde and Trask. Something about this whole affair leaves a bitter taste. The Clyde I knew wouldn't use his friends. Would he? I guess you're right. Maybe I have been clinging to the past. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm gonna be mulling over this whole mess for a couple of days. Part of me wishes Trask was still around, just so I could shake some more answers out of him. Thanks for your time, boss.
So, we're just gonna march straight into Byzantium and acquire some rare chemicals right under the board's nose? I sure hope you negotiated for a raise with this Phineas guy. Uh-huh. Sure. Everybody's got an angle. I'm just wondering what yours is. Fair enough. But you should know he's not the only game in town. The board's put a bounty on his head, and they've got more than enough bits to pay it. I've got no love for the corporations, but they know how to take care of their people. The ones at the top, anyway. Everyone is. The board just pays the best. I know you want to save the day, but don't forget to look after yourself. No one else out here's going to. Hey, don't get any ideas. I'm just making sure you last long enough to pay me at the end of this. Anything else? Things on Monarch have really cooled off. I didn't think MSI and the Iconoclast would ever talk. Outside of shouting four-letter words, I mean. That's the option I'd bet on. Sure, maybe they'll have a good cry first, look through old photographs over a pint of premium double chocolate cacao gelato. But sooner or later, things will go back to the way they were. People don't change. Not really. In my experience, it's spread real thin. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure you weren't too invested in this thing between them lasting. Hey, let's not make this out to be more than it is. Though, come to think of it, this whole episode reminds me of something I've been meaning to do. I haven't actually talked to my folks in a while. Shocking, right? Anyway, it's probably about time I paid them a visit. Given the dangerous life I lead, they've got to be worried sick. Whoa, let's calm down. I'm not asking for a favor or anything. I'm just suggesting we stop by. When we're in the neighborhood. See, I'm originally from Byzantium, born and raised. I know that probably comes as a big surprise. But I worked so hard! I dropped the accent, picked up a swagger, developed a taste for Spacer's Choice. Maybe I could skip a few more showers, drink milk straight from the jug. Yeah, I'll try that. Thanks. In any case, this'll still be a shock to my parents. I bet they'll barely recognize me. Oh, well, I was thinking you'd come too? Great. And when we get there, draw out your rough edges a bit. If you've got an outfit you haven't washed in a while, maybe one with some blood stains, wear that one. Oh, and help yourself to the good snacks and put your feet on the coffee table. Mother hates that. That's the idea. Anything else? I was sure he had an angle. They don't call me stubborn for nothing. People look out for their own interests. It's a fundamental law of nature, same as gravity and conservation of motion. See, this is what I like about you. You may not be from here, but you fit right in. You're not helping this scientist because you think that crackpot will save the colony. Hey, I'm not trying to box you in, just having a friendly chat. Enough about Harlow, though. Anything else? It's like one of those stuffy art gallery pieces. Looks okay from far off, but once you get close, you realize it's just some mismatched shit everyone's agreed to overpay for. Even the bribes are overpriced. The real question is, why didn't I leave sooner? There's all these invisible rules, and everyone spends all their energy just trying not to break them. Call it what you want, it sucks. I was a top-tier surgeon, but I could hardly open a pack of gauze without 10 people signing off first. That's no way to live. People call Byzantium the jewel of Halcyon, but really, it's just paste. Everything's polished and bureaucracy. Take a close look and you'll see it's deader than anywhere else in the colony. Interesting like a colonoscopy. I trained as a surgeon. More my folks' idea than mine, but I made the best of it. Lots of them, unfortunately. I even sculpted a few. Turns out Byzantines are more concerned with having square shoulders and a good profile than, well, anything else. That's what I've been saying.
We are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain.
There's my parents' place. Smell that? Industrial-grade cleaning solvent and desperation.
That's not all I smell.
Marilyn, is that you?
Lars, we certainly didn't expect to see you like this.
And I didn't expect you to renew your marriage contract. But we're all full of surprises today, aren't we? Speaking of surprises, you should meet my new friend. We've been running around the system for a while now, stirring up all sorts of trouble. I don't know what to say. He's usually not like this. Come on, you're supposed to help me make an impression. Anyway, you're probably wondering where I've been all this time.
Not exactly.
The last few years have been a bloody haze. You wouldn't believe the messes we've gotten ourselves into, right? Yep, we're a pair of disgraceful lowlifes.
Marilyn, this really isn't the best time. Perhaps you should go.
We'll stay as long as we like. And while we're at it, we'll drink your expensive hooch, wear our outside shoes all over your nice floors. Just a second. You had the floors redone with real Terran marble? Since when can you afford that?
That's what we've been trying to tell you, dear, but you must understand, we hadn't heard from you in ages.
We thought you were dead.
I'm not dead. I just never wanted to talk to you again.
I'm afraid the distinction was lost on us, darling.
We only did what any grieving parents in our position would do. We collected on your life insurance policy.
And the payouts have been rather, substantial.
You what?
Of course. And we shall always harbor that joyful secret deep within our hearts.
And you'll report it to the insurance company, right?
It's not that simple. For one thing, we'd have to cut back on so many necessities. The neighbors would be sure to notice.
Why did you do that?
We had to explain your disappearance somehow.
We couldn't very well tell people you'd run off to become a miscreant, could we? Shh! Someone could hear you.
We concocted a story about Celeste Jollycurl designing a pair of 12-inch heels for you.
One of a kind, naturally.
That led to your tragic death when you tripped and broke your neck.
It was quite the story. People were talking about it for weeks.
Couldn't you have at least made up a better story? Something with pirates or raptidons? And what are you gonna do now that we're here?
Yes, about that. We were just about to ask you to, leave.
Quietly, if you don't mind.
Well, we're trying to avoid further embarrassment.
I'm afraid it would cause quite a stir if the neighbors saw you two stomping about.
That's it? You just want us to disappear now?
Marilyn, please.
Don't cause a scene.
Fine. I'm gone. Forever this time. Let's talk outside. Can you believe those two? We'd hardly been there a minute and they turned us out like yesterday's garbage. But not like I wanted. I had it all planned out. They'd both be sitting there watching one of their vapid aetherwave dramas, and then we'd walk in. Mother would drop her mock apple cider, and the glass would shatter all over their overpriced marble. Father would tear off his glasses and blink open-mouthed. I'd have a great one-liner in the tube. I was thinking either, the leather's fake but the scars are real, or, oops, did I just track awesome onto your rug? Yeah, I'm gonna use that one day. Now, getting back to my story. Father would throw his hands up, because this would be just like me, to come back and make a big scene. Then Mother would do the old, "You had us worried sick." Her eyes would be red and she'd have her fist in front of her mouth to stifle a sob. I'm not hurt. I'm outraged. Affronted, even. I just didn't want to get booted out of the house I grew up in like that. It's embarrassing, you know. And I've got a reputation to maintain. I'd love to know how you'd describe getting kneecapped. Uh-oh, it looks like we're in for a big talk. I always thought I knew that. Didn't realize it would take getting stabbed in the back to really get it. Good thing it happened with a couple top-rungers who can't stick worse than a butter knife in me. They've got no idea what a real double cross looks like. Much less a Hephaestian triple cross. Or an inverted Olympian blind cross. Wait a second. What if I could get that money? I could open a new account, designate that account holder as a sole beneficiary. All the payouts would go to me. I'll make money without doing a thing. And I'll get to cut them off. My policy is with the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group. They have an office in Byzantium. Maybe you could use some of your people skills to help me set up a dummy beneficiary account. If that doesn't work, I'm sure we can find one of their terminals and do it ourselves.
Direct experience of our own heads.
As usual, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So many yearn for the opportunities you disdain. There were those who would give their hand to be born of Byzantium as you were.
Now, why couldn't you just have said that in the first place?
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to walk into you like that. Oh my goodness! Ruth Bellamy? I simply adore your work.
I'm afraid I can't.
The dissidents actually tickle.
I guess we're going to talk.
Wouldn't it be something to see an Earth assault cruiser land here?
We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain.
Said you docked 3 days ago?
Want to make a run with me to Stella Bay? Boss.
Welcome to the offices of the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group, Halcyon's premier provider of life and disaster-related insurance. I'm obligated to inform you that our coverage does not extend to incidents deemed to result from negligence, criminal activity, or dullness of mind. Some people, but no one in this office, I assure you, might call it stupidity.
Obviously too common an ailment for insurance to cover.
So, what kind of insurance package can I interest you in? We're running a special on dismemberment policies. Buy one, get one half off. We're not on Monarch. For all practical and tax-related purposes, this office is an official enclave of Byzantium. Oh, it's certainly not about what I say. That's all down to our legal team and our CFO. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhel can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. Please, my policy only covers paper cuts and wrist strain. Very well, I'll do it. But then you've got to go. Confrontations like this will raise my premiums. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity. Plenty. As my boss likes to say, there's a policy for every situation and an exclusion for every policy. We've insured unusually expressive eyebrows, outrageous statements, disastrous marriages. Usually character actors, or corporate execs with menacing stares. That policy is almost exclusively for our corporate clientele. In the unlikely event they make a claim about a product that turns out to be less than accurate, they need some kind of protection against the damage to their sales and reputation. Those are mostly for top-rungers in Byzantium who have a lot of social and financial capital wrapped up in their marriage contracts. There's one for your beloved eloping with your sibling, your beloved eloping with their sibling, scandalous rumors forcing you apart, the revelation of a secret love child. We try to cover every possible hazard to domestic bliss. One thing's for sure, you won't find better policy protection against sudden lunar implosions anywhere in Halcyon.
You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. Hey, you did the real work. All I had to do was not be dead. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs.
Come on, I thought we were celebrating. You want me to think about the future?
If only you could have been my chief surgeon back in the day. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee.
That's one thing I appreciate about you. Things are simple, straightforward. A job's a job and that's it, right? Yeah, never hurts to get a friendly reminder, though.
You know, I think I get you just a little more now. I hear you there. You know, I'm thinking I ought to find another gig once this one's all done. One where I can really work on my own. Easiest way to take care of myself is to work with the one person I trust the most, right? Anyway, enough chit-chat. Something on your mind?
You don't think that's a problem? Whole ship's running on a computer's fancy. That'll make you nervous, Preacher?
No, Felix. The concept of a ship computer does not make me nervous. Are you scared of Ada?
I ain't scared of Ada.
Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
It's just, she's a computer, Max. What happens when her equations tell her to cut off her oxygen? Or blast us all into space?
Felix, Ada is not sentient. She can't act out of a sense of malice. Where do you get these ideas?
I was watching true stories of mechanical murderers last night.
Felix, I find your purity refreshing.
Can we talk?
Hey, got a favor to ask you. Next time we're in the Monarch Wilderness, I'd like to stop in on an old friend of mine. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed, and I could use the help. Well, we'll see about that. I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. Every time I give someone the opportunity to disappoint me, they seem to make it their most immediate goal. But for this, I need help. Logistically, because it's dangerous. Emotionally, because it's dangerous. You know what? Never mind, Captain. You find your way out of your own asshole? Come try talking about this again, all right? Hey, Cap. Really? Here I was steeling myself for inevitable rejection. I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. We were on Monarch when the corporations pulled out, and we helped a lot of people pick up the pieces. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in the same places, like the family we once were. I saw it happen. Hell, one of them was in my arms at the time. His name was Hayes, and he's our first stop. I buried him a ways from our encampment. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. That's what I'll bring home to bury. A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. Trouble is, a Mantiqueen showed up and kicked us all out. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then, we kill the bitch and bury everyone's medallions together. Thanks, Cap. Used to be. You can get the best wine on Monarch. Let's clear the sulfur sun fucks out so Hayes can rest in peace.
He's got trouble!
Hayes was the best self-sacrificing son of a saint I ever met. Halcyon is worse off without him. Now, if we're gonna lure the Mantiqueen out, we'll need to find Rebecca and Anders. They took a UDL contract on Terra 2. We never heard from them again. Think it's time I call in a favor with Hiram. If anyone can track them down, it's him. I don't know much about it. It paid well, so they took it. They said they'd be back in a couple of weeks, and that maybe we could all use the money to get off Monarch. That was a long time ago. I don't rightly know what happened. I should have tried to track them down back then. But soon after they left, Hayes and the others died. And to be honest, after him, I stopped trying. Because it hurt like hell to do so. Thanks. I'm still not convinced I won't come to regret it, but we've started down this path. Might as well see it through. Maybe it'll stop me screaming at night. Now come on, let's make tracks before Hiram dies of old age.
So much for peace and quiet. Would it kill the universe to cut me some slack? Yes, the one that crashed. I saw it on the security feed. A bit grainy, but an invigorating watch all the same. What about it? The board has a blockade of gunships that patrol Monarch. Not a ton, mind you, just enough to deter the masses. I am curious as to what downed it. A faulty part wouldn't be wholly unusual. The supply for new mechanicals is tight. Ugh, now I'll never sleep. Unsolved puzzles really torque my sprockets. If you find out what happened, sell me the info. Not surprising, replacement parts are rare, so the cost of even a simple repair can exceed an arm and a leg. I take it you investigated the wreckage? Don't guess the captain would have quite pegged the price of disrepair being the cost of their lives, but these things happen. A shame. I would have enjoyed investigating the mystery further. Ha! Oh, that's a good one. You're not serious, are you? Yes, well, let's see how long that lasts. Is this bonding? I'm not sure I like it. Next, you'll be asking me how I got the scar on my chin when I was 11. Most of it's underneath along my jaw, but yes, it seems to have faded with time. Moral of the story is, never run with scissors. I'm getting a headache behind my left temple. What could be causing it? The glare from the terminal screen? Or something else? Oh, great. I love doing pro bono work for friends.
Aw, you called us friends. I'd normally entertain your self-aggrandizing delusions, but this time it's important.
Important to you is not the same as important to me. Although I do recognize that you may have earned some goodwill during your months laboring for me. Tug on my heartstrings, why don't you? Look, I'll do what I can, all right?
Rebecca Hodges and Anders Wadsworth. They took a UDL contract back when Monarch went to shit, and I need to find them. I believe them to be on Terra too.
If UDL hired 2 hunters back then, it would have been for creature clearing purposes, round 1 of their Spacer's Choice outposts. These are the coordinates for the outpost under the last UDL contract. Now scram. And, good luck. Give my regards to Phineas.
We are now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain.
This is the outcome.
Get them! Behind you!
Again. Huh. Rebecca taught me this once. You can jerry-rig these old locks so as they don't open anymore. But we've only ever done that if we're in a real bind. Here, I'll fix it. Oh no. Oh no. What did you do?
This is an unfortunate sight indeed. My condolences.
They were... That bitch! They were all set to abandon us! What would Clara say, huh? Every day she'd ask if we heard from you. And she'd have forgiven you! The kid had a soul that made the sulfur smell like roses! Ugh. Or to leave your medallions to rot with you, but Clara would want to be buried with her sister. At least I know. Ought to have learned by now that getting one's hopes up tends to open them to being dashed across the stars. I hate to say this, but Clara died thinking her sister was still fighting to get back home. I'm glad. If she were still alive now, it'd break her to know the truth. Yeah, maybe. I'm used to disappointment. She was still so naive as to let it hurt her every time it happened. Only thing left is to take these medallions home, which means figuring out how to bait the Mana Queen out of our old base. The most pissed off I've ever seen a queen was when a foreign species was on her soil. I'd wager the stench of a primal might do the trick. That'd be boring. Half the fun in exploring is the fact that you're on an unknown trail. I've never had the pleasure of hunting primals, but I hear they're all over Scylla. Let's tear a few apart, shall we? I'm sure they've got pheromones. Everything does.
Destination reached. Scylla.
Day came when I found a book of his in the middle of a rap encampment. Hand still gripping it, too.
Hopefully he found more comfort in his beliefs in his last moments than I ever did in mine. Their defeat.
While performing sweeping the air.
Here they come! That queen ain't gonna go down easy. I can't wait. What's up? Outstanding. These ought to be enough. Let's get back to Monarch. There's an old base I used to call home. I can get us in the door, but we'll have to shoot our way through the Queen's brood to get to the center. We'll set the bait there. Password to the door is Charon.
Sam, I must confess, I have not been cleaned for far too long. You're sure this will... Oh, yes. That's the spot exactly. We are now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain. No blockade is a match for my piloting skills.
Nicely done.
Well, this is the spot. You know, I thought I'd be angry. I thought I'd storm in here in a rage and exterminate all these bugs and everything would be all right in the end. But I ain't. I'm mostly just empty. A little sad, maybe. The first night Hayes and I spent in here, we knew it was home. It's safe. It's got a nice chill to it. But mostly, it doesn't stink of sulfur. Monarch folks often joke about it. Not because of the smell or the grittiness it leaves in your throat. Not because of the headaches or the coughing. It's because there's no escaping it. It's life here, and there ain't anything you can do about it. But here, somehow the sulfur never made it. The nights we spent in here felt like vacations. So we started building. We hauled in steel, hired sublight folk to help. That's how we met Anders and Opal. They stuck around after our contract was up. Opal liked camping. Anders liked chasing her tail. 4 of us for a while, scraping together what bits we could to build our home. Then came Rebecca, a sawbones out of the Cascadia survivors, who took a kindness to Hayes. And Clara, her little sister. I'll admit I wasn't keen on taking her on at first, but for a teenager, she was surprisingly capable. She had a head for numbers, helped us trade hides for food and materials, negotiated contracts. Turned out to be mighty useful. Clara, Hayes, Anders, Rebecca, Opal, and me. 6 folks, 1 name, 1 family. Charon. Despite Monarch trying to kill us day in and day out, we managed to belong. Me too, Captain. But I'm starting to think that maybe I found another. Now let's get to shooting before I get all sentimental.
Here they come!
Fine hit, Captain!
We are victorious.
I wish these were more auspicious circumstances, but at least we're all here. This bringing them together, burying them. This is the kind of thing Hayes would have done. That makes it stupid. By all accounts, we should have left well enough alone, but that also makes it right. Captain, thank you. You mind if we rest a spell before we head out? I'd like to bury Opal and Clara proper before I lay everyone's medallions to rest.
You're an artist, Captain.
Who ordered the bottles of Raptidon musk? One has broken.